What is going on, everybody? Voidlego here, back with a brand new episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Last time we had just finished up Chapter 3 of Higurashi, in which the entire town got decimated by a volcano chemical attack, or I think it's just a chemical attack in my opinion, and pretty much everyone died and Kechi went insane, and believed himself to be God, and yeah, it's, a very happy ending, as is usual for When They Cry. But yeah, also happy 2023 first video. Yeah. So you guys decided that I should skip the choices. So let's just go pure list. Let's just go full PC. Let's go. Let's just jump right into it. Who's the criminal, you ask? Don't we search for them in this story? Who's the criminal, you ask? Do you even know what the criminal did? Who's the criminal? Who is the criminal who will kill me now? For the basket. Midsummer 1985. 85? Ooh, this is jumping a bit in the future. So I've read from your comments that the all-star voice cast extra thing from before kind of lied. That saying, like, the writer had to delay what became chapter 5. He had to delay it, so they put out this chapter 4, which is a bit shorter than the others, which is, very interesting. I'm curious to what it is. I had misled the time and ended up arriving too early. The schedule board flipped with a series of cracks. My flight to Sapporo was still a bit later on. I still had over an hour before boarding. Well, might as well close my eyes for a bit on that bench over there then. Came here directly from work, so my fatigue from that was making me sleepy. Finding a suitable bench, I put my luggage on the seat next to me and settled down. This is not catchy. I sighed like an old man. I had hoped to stay young forever, but had become suddenly middle-aged. Apparently, the rumor that even people in the latter half of their 20s experience a decline of their physical strength wasn't a lie. I had been numbly busy at work lately, so I rarely had any time to myself. This might have been the first time I'd been able to enjoy a journey alone like this since I was a student. The reason behind this trip was to meet with an old friend. It was a bit strange to call him an old friend. In fact, it might be better to call him a bad one. After retiring a couple of years ago, he moved to Sapporo, his mother's hometown. His mother passed away soon after, and he was now peacefully enjoying his second recent life. His name was Kyoto Oshi. Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like Oshi. He was a former detective from the primary investigation unit at the station in Okayama Prefecture. To be honest, the only direct contact we ever had didn't last more than 3 days. After that, we exchanged New Year's cards, but never met again. So this wouldn't be the first time meeting him in 7 years. In other words, we met 7 years ago, in 1978. There was something I just had to ask, to talk to him about concerning that time. To explain that it was impossible not to recall the incident that happened back then. That kidnapping, the details and resolution of which were resigned to darkness. Also, it was impossible not to recall a certain mysterious girl. My name is Maru Akishia. It was a year that had been strangely hot even though it was only June. 1978, eh? Early summer, 1978. Okay, we're going way back. So far, all new backgrounds, too.
はい、さようなら。車に気をつけるんですよ。お友達の家に寄り道なんかしないように。明日の教科書の準備は必ず寝る前にしておくんですよ。
Quiet. Lively sounds of children running towards the hallway.
ってさ、つってんだぜ。
そんなの俺持ってるわよ。いらねえよ。
The unique high-pitched voice of youth. The energetic shrill of the cicadas went completely unheard by their ears. Children, returning home from school, split off one by one from their groups of friends as they went through intersections in the residential area. Even though there were several of them in a group as they left the school, as they got closer to their homes, their numbers dwindled. That's why the fewer friends you were walking home would have acted as an indicator that you were that much closer to your destination.
じゃあなあばよ。
また明日ね。
He finally parted ways with his last friend. The van was parked at a bend in the road. The window was open, the sound of the radio leaking outside. It must have been news or something.
たため、道路交通法違反、公務執行妨害で3名を逮捕しました。一連の日並沢ダム建設反対をめぐる運動は、先月の機動隊との流血事件を境に過激化の一途をたどっており、
Yeah, the dam project's still being contested.
警察では過激な活動家による次の事件を警戒しています。先週も建設省庁舎前での犬飼建設大臣への直訴事件があったばかりで、
When exactly did the murder of the construction worker exactly happen? I know it was in the 70s, but was it 78 or 79? I feel like it was 79. The boy's ears perked up at the mention of the name Inukai. At that moment, a man's face peeked out suddenly from the window of the van. His behavior was a little different than that of a man working around to see if there was any oncoming traffic before he opened the door of his vehicle. His eyes meeting suddenly with the unfamiliar man, the boy panicked slightly.
ウグイス OK。
Nightingale? What?
ひばり OK。
Skylark?
前後2ブロック確保した。いいぞ。
The man in the passenger seat whispered quietly. Nodding acknowledgement, the man opened the door and stood before the boy.
君、犬飼俊樹君？
While asking that, the man peered at the boy's name tag. Toshiki Inukai. The name was written plainly there. Okay, so I guess this is the kidnapping of the boy. The phone rang for a third time. If he reached out, he could easily pick up the receiver. However, he was concerned that if he picked it up before it had even finished ringing once, whoever was on the other end of the line would think him a fairly cheap person. That's why he normally never picked up the phone until the third ring. Even he thought it was a worthless habit. However, his thinking that there isn't much meaning in waiting for just 3 rings, when waiting for 5 be alright, was very much a reality. His mind filled with such drifting thoughts, he picked up the phone after the third ring had finished, its reverb dampened by his action.
はい。もしもし。もしもし。
He knew that sometimes due to a malfunction at the switchboard, calls didn't connect well. At those times, it was best to hang up and let the person on the other end call again. Thinking that, the moment he began to hang up the phone, he sensed that he was definitely connected after all. He felt the presence of the person on the other end of the line, keeping silent.
もしもし。
There's no way they didn't hear his question. What was the meaning of this? It wasn't like he didn't know that people could use silent calls to harass others. However, he never received a call like that until today. Maybe he was just lucky before, but he didn't believe that he would receive such a call on this phone. So I want to guess this is Inukai's father, who must be someone powerful. If this seems like a very organized group of men kidnapping his son. There were no direct calls to or from this line. Everything had to go through an operator. Therefore, there's absolutely no way the call would be connected unless it was verified there was somebody else on the other end of the line. That's why he didn't understand how to deal with the silent call and instead settled into confusion.
あんた、誰だか知らないが、用がないなら切るよ。また、かけ直してください。
Intending that to be a parting line, he made to slam down the receiver. It was at that moment the person on the other end spoke for the first time.
あなたが名乗ってくれないから困ってんですよ。
Using a voice amplifier.
あんたが犬飼大臣じゃないなら、さっさと電話を切ってください。
Minister, He couldn't help but be surprised by the extremely strange voice on the other end of the line. Was there a human alive who could speak with this hoarse and metallic voice? No, this was a voice he had heard somewhere before. Really? That was the kind of voice that was on those Wobwow documentaries that they'd used when they wanted to hide the identity of a speaker, wasn't it? The voice he was hearing over the line was exactly like that.
あんた誰？
だからそれはこっちが聞いてるんですよ。あんた犬飼大臣じゃないの？
He, Unukai, hesitated to answer. Unable to discern the intent of this suspicious phone call, he had a vague feeling that something was off. He thought about hanging up the phone and asking the operator who had initiated the call. However, he forced himself to restrain that urge, and for the time being chose to say his name and listen.
そうです。犬飼です。名乗りましたよ。だから
私の名前なんてどうでもいいんです。まず、あなたがどういう立場に置かれているか、それを認識するところから始めましょう。あなたは今、自分の席で電話をしていますね。では、あなたの席の右側の一番下の引き出しを開けてみてください。
The hell? The lowest drawer to the right of the minister's chair. There was a lock on it. Not enough to function as a safe, but nevertheless it was a drawer that contained some valuable things. That's why Inukai thought that the person wanted some of the important information contained within that drawer.
すまんが開けるつもりはないよ。自分の名前も名乗れんやつの言いなりになる言われはない。
引き出しを開けてくれないなら、この電話を切ります。きっと後悔することになりますよ。まずは引き出しを開けてから考えてもいいんじゃないですか。
Inukai didn't like following orders from this suspicious person one bit. However, he was concerned about what the man said about regretting it, so he decided to open the drawer. He took the small key he kept stowed in his wallet and unlocked the drawer. His hand stopped right before he opened it. What if there was a bomb inside and would explode if the drawer was opened? That delusion took hold of him. He quelled that instinct and opened it.
開けてくれましたか？そこにあるものが何かわかりますよね。
これはどういうことだ？
The hell is it?
おい、
どういうことか説明する必要なんかないですよね。時間を差し上げますので、少しお考えください。
Is it like his son's name tag?
また後ほどこちらから連絡いたします。それでは失礼。
おい、待て。もしもし？もしもし？
The call had already ended. That would not change no matter how much he yelled at it. Even still, Inukai, without realizing that, continued yelling into the receiver for a while. The drawer was still open. On top of the folders crammed into the drawer and right there. Toshiki Inukai. Wooden plain lettering and a grade schooler's name tag. Just lying there. Enshrined there, completely out of place, as if it were cowering. Oh, damn. Second time, huh? Okay. This is very, very different from the other chapters, but I'm very interested. So these kidnappers, eh? So Inukai is the Minister of Construction, right? Who's probably behind the dam, right? So these kidnappers could be like part of the Shion family, or Sonozaki families, I should say, or maybe the Furude family, because they were like the main base of operations for that. Who knows? Maybe, or maybe it's a third party. Not enough information. Do you remember, Yuki? This picture. This is where I first proposed to you. That brief moment before you nodded back. You probably wouldn't know just how much it seemed like an eternity to me. Yes, I would have never thought that amount of time could feel like an eternity. Compared to how long I had to wait for you to propose to me, it was... From the moment I met you until today, compared to the time I've spent since I was born, it might only be a brief period, but there were definitely precious, beautiful days that deserve to be called an eternity. The time continues even now. From now on, I wonder if it'll be a boy, or maybe a girl. Either one is fine. Boy or girl, either way it's living proof that we love each other. So if a boy, we'll name it after you, Mamoru. If it's a girl, we'll put the Yuki for my name in hers. Thinking about names is so fun that in the end we still haven't decided yet. There's still time to puzzle over it. Not that long of a time, actually. You see, Yuki, there's something I have to apologize for today. It's about your job. Sorry. Looks like an only bit of work has come up. In the worst case, I might not be able to be there for the delivery. It's fine. I have a very important job. What you do protects the way we live. Compared to you, it's nothing. Please go ahead. When you return, I'll be waiting here with our child. Thank you. Awesome. I'm sorry. Please don't apologize. Feel guilty about it, then you can just atone. If I atone that much, no matter how much money I have, it won't be enough. It's a joke. Now, go on. As I left the room, I bumped into an elderly man. It was Yuki's father. In other words, my father-in-law.
お父さん、邪魔する気はなかったからな。廊下で待たせてもらったよ。聞き耳を立てるつもりはなかったが、聞こえてしまった。生きたまえ。幸恵はああいう娘だ。何があっても自分が君の枷になることを望むまい。
Damn, same day his wife is giving birth is this damn kidnapping case.
私はこれまで幸恵に様々な犠牲を強いてきました。出産という人生の節目にまで彼女に犠牲を強いることを恥じます。
君が本当にそう思うなら、仕事が終わったら幸恵のために時間を割きなさい。君が仕事を投げ出して付き添ってくれるよりも、そうした方がきっと幸恵も喜ぶだろう。
ありがとうございます。
君がとても大切な仕事をしていることは私もよく知っている。自分の仕事を誇りに思いなさい。幸恵は君が見事難題を解決して凱旋するのを楽しみにしている。
はい。
I jumped into the taxi that was waiting outside. Compared to the time when I first got here, the numbers on the flare meter had grown considerably. It seemed the modest time Yuki and I had spent together wasn't so modest from an objective point of view.
待たせてすみません。やってください。
いえいえ。では参りますよ。
The taxi jerked as it changed gears to accelerate, soon burying the hospital my wife was in behind a fog of buildings. If it was to end up as a really troublesome ordeal, I probably wouldn't be returning for quite some time. To call a rookie like me, on top of that, one who's off duties, it seemed that the section chief was calling for all hands on deck. The veteran upper brass gathering on an emergency basis happened occasionally. This was the first time, though, that I experienced everybody gathering together like this. Whatever was happening, there was no doubt it was going to be something novel. Right when my wife was ready to give birth. If I wanted to spend the time to curse my misfortunes, I'll be here all day. Even the verdant ginkgo trees lining the street that always brightened my mood seemed to lack some of their usual luster. Eventually, the government office came into view. Briefly holding my breath, I let the feelings of tension course through my body once again. I had to remember the work I was doing was important, necessary, and difficult. I composed myself and sharpened my wit. Ready? Taxi stopped in front of the building. Kazukuri, Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department Public Safety Division.
室長、全員揃いました。赤坂君、ブラインドを下ろしてくれる？
The blinds were usually closed when they needed to use the projector, or if the discussion was going to contain some particularly disturbing content. The blinds closed with a satisfying sound, darkening the interior of the room. Immediately, the inside of the room was completely drained of the pleasant morning atmosphere, leaving behind only the cold illumination of the fluorescent lighting. After the supervisor ensured that everyone was present, he nodded to the section chief once again. With everybody on the edge of their seats, the chief stood up solemnly and began to give his report.
推定48時間前、建設大臣の孫にあたる建設省幹部の子息が誘拐された模様です。
Now, this is very interesting. There has never been a mention of kidnapping before. During the whole dam project, not a single mention of kidnapping, which is very, very interesting.
建設大臣は事態を穏便に済ませるため、警察へ通報せず要求に応じるものと思われます。
Ah, okay. Maybe it was just never reported on. It seemed that approximately 48 hours earlier, the Minister of Construction's grandson, who was also the son of one of his senior staff members, was kidnapped. The reason why it was phrased that way was because the person in question didn't admit it had happened.
大臣宅の通話を監視した結果、都外からと思われる不審な電話が数件確認されました。誘拐された子供は病気療養中となっているが、通院の形跡はなく、周辺での目撃例もなく、その他いくつかの理由から事件発生は間違いないものと断定しました。
Here they admitted the details that brought this incident to light. If you think about it a bit, that meant that before this incident happened. The minister's residence had been under surveillance already. I won't use the word spied upon. Of course, there wouldn't have been court approval for this, and would have been very hard to explain to ordinary citizens. However, it was quite an effective method to catch wind of incidences like this before they got worse. I'd like for you to understand that dealing with these cases before they become a problem is the job of the Public Safety Division.
なぜ警察に通報せず要求を鵜呑みに？
大臣たる者が警察を信用できないってんだから世も末だね。
犯人グループは誘拐初期に自分たちが大臣の生活をかなり高度に監視していることを警告し、その証拠を示した様子です。
I mean, yeah, they managed to put the name tag in a locked drawer at the minister's desk, so I would also be worried as hell.
大臣が屈服し、警察への通報も思いとどまるほどの何かですね。
警察へ通報してもすぐにわかるぞって？
大臣の近辺に内通者がいる可能性か。
Several of the higher-ranking members who seem to have experience with this kind of thing let out deep sighs.
犯人グループの目的が要求にあるのか、事件そのものにあるのかは不明ですが、いずれにせよ、国益を脅かす事態に発展する可能性が極めて高い。
If their goal is to simply have their demands met for monetary gain, that would have been nice. However, if this was some politically motivated shake-up, things would get a lot more complicated.
被害者の協力がないということは、脅迫内容も要求も一切不明ということか。
本件は内通者の水準がかなり高いと思われるため、当室のみの極秘捜査とします。
At least that answered my question.
また本件は本日より最優先事項となり、これまでの通常業務を一時凍結して対応します。よろしいですね。
After that, the supervisor continued on, tactfully explaining our course of action. If this incident were to become public, it was possible that the minister's political life would be over. I'll spare you the explanation of how the rest of the dominoes would fall, but in the end, support in the Diet would decline, followed by no confidence votes and a snap election, and it might even expand communist influences. In other words, we wanted to handle this delicately.
川崎と佐伯は大臣宅、子供宅の通話を24時間監視。大臣の動向を探れ。動きがあるたびに逐一報告せよ。残る各職員は担当団体ごとに本件との関連を調査。最近動きが不穏な特殊ラインは集中的にやれ。それから外国勢力も水を漏らすな。
I guess it would make sense for, this is still 78, a little bit after the Cold War, which was very popular in the 60s, and well, after World War II, America, like, made Japan more American, I guess they would be more concerned about communism. Japan is very capitalist. It's very, very interesting. I've experienced one or two unamicable situations before. This, however, was the first time I've seen things get so hectic. Several sophisticated conversations were progressing with the involvement of a Wookiee like me. I didn't intend to be timid, but I couldn't hide my confusion at this unfamiliar situation.
では、書き打ちに行ってくれ。で、赤坂君は
I summoned back to awareness upon hearing my name called.
はい。
赤坂君は大臣に陳情してきた環境保護団体関連を調査してくれ。中でも新聞でも騒ぎになってるひなみ沢ダム建設反対の団体をよく調査すること。住民団体の仕業とは到底思えないが、全ての可能性を潰していかなくてはならない。
わかりました。ひなみ沢ダム反対か。
So this is how we get to Himizawa, eh?
直接現地へ行った方がいいだろう。現地県警で情報を取れ。かなり過激な団体らしく、向こうの公安でもマークしてるらしいぞ。
わかりました。現地へ出港します。
奥さん、出産控えてるんだって？こんなタイミングで申し訳ないけど、協力頼むよ。時間がかけられないから、人海戦術で総当たりで行くしかないんだ。
ええ、わかってます。
Kid's going to turn out to be Ketchy somehow. I know like, none of this is like Ketchy's actual parents, my power, no, at all, but still would be very funny at the end of the chapter. It turns out to be Ketchy.
家内も自分の都合が私の仕事に触ることを嫌いますから。
すまん、ありがとう。それから、川崎くん、佐伯くん、君たちの応援には。
Plus the timing of all of it is so long because, like, it was 1983. Most of the chapters took place, and like Ketchy's like teenage, so like in 78 he would probably be like 10. Yeah, 78, maybe like 8, 9, somewhere around there. I didn't want to take a business trip when my wife was about to give birth, even if it was a little busy. As long as I was in Tokyo, I could head to the hospital right away. An assignment, though, that would be difficult. Even so, I knew the work I was doing was important and fully understood that I was in no position to be so selfish. I'd have to make it up to my wife for having to be away at such an important time. My wife, Yuki, would probably forgive me with a smile. The only thing she could hate doing would be holding me back. My male ego, though, I always wish she would have tried to stop me. Sorry, Yuki. I don't mind if you always complain to our child that their father couldn't come to the hospital when they were born because he was too busy with work. Same damn busted up. The next day, I took the bullet train to Nagaya. From there, I transferred to the train to Prefecture. Getting to my destination by land took several hours. If I was traveling by air in that amount of time, I could probably get as far as Hong Kong. Prefecture was by no means close. I never sat in first class except for work, but whenever I did, the seat seemed stiff. Closing my eyes, I mentally reviewed the documents I read yesterday. The group under investigation, the Ongafuchi Guardians. Nice name. They were a group of residents opposed to the development proposed under the Himizawa Dam project. The local protests were quite heated and were getting more radicalized. Even limited to what was written in the newspapers, there was bloodshed that occurred during a crash with riot police, interference with the dam construction, too many to count. The number of petitions, sit-ins, and direct appeals to relevant organizations were innumerable. As an extension of that, there was a direct appeal to the Ministry of Construction the other day.
これがそもそも今回この団体を調査することになったゆえんだ。
The land that they had lived on was going to be submerged, though it was no wonder they would go into a frenzy over it. Even given that, though, could they really be capable of doing something like kidnapping the Minister of Construction's grandson in order to halt the project? Yes, absolutely. For my take on it, I had serious doubts. This kidnapping plot was extremely sophisticated and complicated enough that it was believed there was some political backing. This wasn't something that could be pulled off by some group of local protesters. Well, just like the chief said, the plan was to eliminate all possibilities. While I'm in the XX police reference room taking my time investigating, the higher-ups in Tokyo would probably solve the case. Without my involvement entirely. Even if that was true, I couldn't regret being away from Tokyo while my wife was ready to give birth. This was work. There was really nothing that I could do. Ding dong. The announcement that we would be arriving at our destination soon snapped me back to wakefulness. Go Gura.
鬼ヶ淵死守同盟ですか。
ええ、地元ではかなり賑わせているようです。
The Prefecture Public Safety Department already had the documents and a cup of tea ready and waiting for me.
早い話がダム反対の住民運動なんですが、事実上水没地域の住民すべてが決起したと言っていいでしょうね。死守なんて古風な言い方が示す通り、相当の決意と覚悟を持った連中です。そこら辺の温和な住民団体とは一線を画すと思っていただいた方がいいですね。
The stack of papers that had prepared for me in the document room was by no means thin.
発足当初はごくごく平均的な住民運動だったんです。それがいつだかの流血事件を境に急にヒートアップしまして。
Interesting.
今では暴力主義団体かそれに準じるくらいの過激な勢力に成長したと言えますね。
Violent organizations usually indicate ones that enforce their own ideology without regards to their democratic process. Breaking that down, many of those organizations held extreme left revolutionary ideologies. Considering that, I couldn't help but be surprised that a citizens group would end up going this far. Radical citizens movements happened occasionally. It seemed, however, that this group was nothing as trifling as that. It seemed that I would have to reconsider exactly what this Onikafuchi Guardians was.
鬼ヶ淵死守同盟が要求。つまり、ダム計画の撤回を求めるために行いうる活動範囲はどの程度でしょうか。
Murder. The kidnapping of the minister's grandson was classified. That meant, of course, I couldn't tell the prefecture department about it either.
ご存知の通り、先週あった犬飼建設大臣への直訴事件では逮捕者も出ています。危険性は十分にありますね。
I skimmed over the list of the criminal records related to the Onikafuchi Guardians recorded in the documents. The contents were all violent, not giving me the barest hint of a feeling that these people were trying to uphold the law.
具体的に教えていただけますか。
The chief opened up a manila envelope, fished out several unorganized sheets, and spread them out on the desk.
建設現場への襲撃事件が最も多かったですね。初期の頃、電源コードの切断や錠前の鍵穴に石を詰める、投石による事務所の窓ガラス割り等の軽犯罪が頻発していました。
Of course, what really happened first were things like demonstrations, sit-ins, and distribution of pamphlets, lively but democratic forms of protest. However, then the demonstrators and police clashed, which started a riot, leading to numerous injuries and arrests. It was from then on that the Onikafuchi Guardians, like their name implies, began to take a more demonic form of resistance.
襲撃が度重なれば、地元警察による警備強化がなされるのでは。
それは警戒はしたでしょうね。でもあちらは地元ですから。闇に乗じて忍び込まれたらお手上げでしょう。
You might as well label the entire map of Himizawa village around the dam construction site and enemy territory. No matter how alert the police were, the locals would just show them exactly how easy it was to sneak around.
警察が警備を固めてからは、 むしろ挑発されたように過激化が進みました。ほら、この辺りからだいぶヒートアップしてるのがお分かりになります？
事務所の放火。
Jeez.
建設重機の破壊工作。破壊？まさか爆弾でも？
いや、まさか。連中ですね。タンクに核砂糖を放り込むんですよ。あれやられたらエンジン焦げついちゃいますから。
Fuck, definitely like guerrilla warfare tactics. Even in Japan, it seemed there had been people doing that to the vehicles of occupying forces right after the war. Compared to misdemeanors like breaking windows, they were extremely violent and aggressive.
そこまでやられたら地元警察の面目は丸つぶれですね。
放火はさすがにですね。それで地元警察が24時間体制の人員を大幅に増員しまして、それで建設現場への襲撃は一段落したようです。
He used the words quieted down, but that was still smack dab in the middle of the list of crimes.
で、連中ですね。現場への直接攻撃が難しくなったとしたら、今度は個人攻撃に切り替えました。最初に狙われたのが工事事務所の現場作業者でした。
After that, there was silence. What was being described to me was a guerrilla war fought in the jungle. Exactly what I was saying. Threats and violence against the workers. Harsh words and harsher walks were thrown.
かなりの告訴がされているのに逮捕者があまり出ていませんね。
そりゃそうです。
Can't catch him. Prove it.
第一、目撃者なんかいないんですから。それどころか、現行犯だったにしたって、アリバイがポンポンポンとできちゃうんです。
Yeah, that's the one thing about Himizawa, is that they're a fucking tight-knit community. Don't throw one of them under the bus.
それはどういうことですか？
例えばですね、あなたがひなび沢で歩いていて、ある男にナイフで刺されたとします。あなたは相手をよく覚えていて、名前も住所も特定できてるとします。ただし、ナイフには指紋がなく、物的証拠だけがない。まあ、ありがちな傷害事件だと思うでしょ？でも、ひなみ沢じゃ完全犯罪なんです。
Everybody is the entire village. They're all in on it. To protect the man who was the perpetrator, they'll get their story straight and prepare an alibi. To that end, they'll probably even forge some evidence.
裁判にもつれ込ますほかないわけですが、何しろ物的証拠はない上、犯人を隠匿する証言だけは後から増えていく。検察も書類送検には二の足を踏むわけです。殺人ならいざ知らず、透析で額を切った、殴られてあざができた程度だと、仮に犯人を特定できたとしても、嫌疑不十分で送検されないことがほとんどです。
Every case is without a doubt perpetrated by someone in Namazawa, but they can't identify who. Even if they could figure out who it is, they're unable to obtain enough circumstantial evidence through due process. The villagers were all extremely well informed about this, and so the malicious, vicious, and tenacious personal attacks continued.
被害者はそれでは納得できないでしょう。検察審査会に再審請求を出さないのですか？
それはですね、審査員たちがみんな厄介ごとに巻き込まれたくないと思っているからですよ。ひなみ沢関係のトラブルには首を突っ込みたがらないんです。
Jeez. The inquest committee is comprised of a random section of local residents. In the event the prosecutor fails to get a conviction, they have the power to order a retrial. It's a system designed to assert the will of the people and the actions of expert prosecutors in the legal world. In this case, however, being composed of local residents has backfired.
首を突っ込みたがらない。それはなぜです？
なんて説明すればいいんでしょう。恐れられているって言えばいいのかな。あそこはね、少し特殊なんです。
特殊？何か政治的なバックボーンが存在するということですか？
いえ、そういうのとは少し違うというか、まあ怖がられていると思ってください。この辺りは口では少し説明しにくいんです。ああ、そうだ。わかりやすいのがありました。
Wiping his forehead with a handkerchief, he opened a file labeled as a list of members of the Ongafuchi Guardians.
鬼ヶ淵死守同盟の勢力にはですね、近隣の町々に強い影響力を持つ人間が多々おりまして、この辺をご覧いただけますか？
I looked. What I saw startled me. Prefectural and municipal assembly members, staff members of the Chamber of Commerce, an executive of a business association, an executive of a town council association, and a PTA Y-son. There were more than a few people with a lot of say, both locally and in neighboring regions, probably because of the Sonozaki family.
この界隈では、ひなみ沢のダム反対運動は皆静観しているのが普通なんです。ダムを肯定するような発言をすると、どこでどう巡って不利益を被るかわからない。
I mean, yeah, if the committee got involved, then they could possibly kill their career in politics or, well, any job, really.
何しろ近隣の町の喉元は、ひなみ沢出身の人間が抑えていますからね。
Jeez, Sonozaki group really is like a fucking Yakuza like type business with just how each member of the family is like influential in like some type of business or politics.
検察審査員のリストは非公開でしょう。報復がされないように何らかの措置が取られているはずでは。
一応非公開でプライバシーは守られてますがね。それを管理してるのは沖宮市役所の人間。つまり地元の人間なんです。守秘義務があるとはいえ、やはり人間のつながりは分かりませんからね。ひなみ沢の人間はそのあたりのつながりがことのほか強固ですから。
Himazawa, like the more and more it's like explained, it feels like a dead zone. Like if you're a part of the community and you just kill somebody and the community likes you, you could just get away with it. It's a perfect crime, really. Nobody can do anything with the, like they could like see you even and say like, heck, people could see you with a blood-stained shirt and they'd say they didn't see anything. It's that close-knit of a community. It's literally just like a dead zone, literally, for the law, which is very, very just scary to think about. Just a single town just being a dead zone of like the law. Like if someone in the community hates your guts and wants to kill you, there's really nothing you can do to escape from it. When you consider the obligations and duties people have to the region, the web of information thereby formed is nothing to scoff at. It's not uncommon for housewives in the neighborhood to know which kid from which house is what grade and which school, what subjects they're good at, and what vegetables they hate, among other things.
それにほら、ひなみ沢と遅延の深い暴力団組織がありましてね。これが今回の騒動に全面バックアップしてるらしいんです。こちらが出てくるのが一番効いてるみたいですね。
暴力団？ダムの建設反対で住民と一致？どういう利害が一致するのか読みがたいですね。
それは難しいことじゃないです。実はですね、この暴力団の組長がですね、ひなみ沢村の出身なんです。村の重鎮の一人の婿養子にあたりまして。
Exactly what was this Himazawa? I had thought it was some desolate rustic village. However, for some reason they exerted a strong influence on the surrounding areas and had a strong sense of unity. They would protect their village by any means necessary, even if that meant resorting to violence. The chief had said that they were afraid because there were numerous influential people living there, but somehow I got the feeling that they were afraid of the village itself. There was something clearly different from what I had read in the documents in Tokyo. This was no simple residential protest against the dam. For some reason, an uneasy feeling began to nestle itself at the back of my mind. I chose the most basic way to ask my question. In other words, I directly asked what I wanted to know.
室長、これは例えば仮の話ですが。
はい。
例えばその鬼ヶ淵主導名がダム計画を頓挫させるため、例えば要人を脅迫するようなことは考えられますか？
The chief replied immediately.
あり得るでしょう。事実、彼らは市役所や県庁、建設省の工事事務所にも押しかけ、恫喝まがいのことをしていますし、工事関係者の家族が不審者につけ回されたという事件も起こっています。
Well, that would make sense. To all progress on the dam, they raided the construction site, destroying heavy machinery and lighting the construction office on fire. If they didn't have any qualms about doing that, threats and violence against people related to the dam would probably be no problem. But that was it. Even your everyday hoodlum could use threats and violence. However, this time it was the kidnapping of the minister's grandson, an abnormally high-level crime. Not only was putting off the kidnapping difficult in the first place, but so was maneuvering to have the minister surrender to their demands immediately. There was no way this was the work of amateurs. Did these people have the power to enact this large of a crime? That was the heart of the matter. Was the Ungafuchi Guardians an organization capable of pulling this off? In order to ask that question, once again, I chose the most basic method.
例えば政府要人の関係者を誘拐して脅迫なんてことがあり得ると思いますか？
There's no way they could pull off something that big. That was the answer I most hoped for. If it was that answer, my work was as good as halfway done. I might be able to get back in time for my wife to give birth. That was how it was supposed to be. The chief, without a hint of hesitation, replied,
やるかもしれません。そこの知れない連中ですから。
Sorry, Yuki. It seemed like my work wouldn't end so simply after all.
おう、赤坂君か。ご苦労さん。担当地域での情報収集はどうですか？
順調です。これから現地警察の公安と接触できることになりましたので、現地へ向かう予定です。東京の調査の方はどうですか？
他の職員も順調に調査を進めているよ。でも調べる団体が星の数だからね。そんなに悠長に時間もかけられないし。
There was no new developments at this time. No matter how suspicious the Ungafuchi Guardians was, if they solved the case in Tokyo, my job was done. It looked like my wishful thinking wouldn't come to pass. Hanging up the phone, I let my gaze drift outside the window to the valley of unfamiliar buildings.
赤坂さん、今お貸しできる車が戻ってきました。ご案内しますので、こちらへどうぞ。
あ、すみません。
He showed me to the elevator to the underground parking lot where a battered sedan was waiting for me. That the steering wheel kept drifting to the left was a little concerning, but it would be enough to get me around for a while. My destination was Shishiborn City, Prefecture, an area under the control of the Onagafuchi Guardians. The Okayama police station was right on the front lines. This is a very, very interesting take. Like, this is a very interesting chapter. Like, we're back in time during the dam era, you know. From a new perspective. Okayama Prefecture. Shishiborn City was, as far as provincial cities went, rather behind the times. Okayama, recessed in the mountains, was even more remote. With little change between the seasons, all that was left was the tepid passage of time. It made for a rather drab town. There were no tourist attractions or local delicacies. Without even a strong regional industry, it was simply dull. Plus, this seems more like a mysterious town in unknown part of the country type of story, like what I expected, like some FBI agent, a la Twin Peaks or any other mysterious town type of fiction. It's always like a federal agent comes to it. So it's very interesting. Without even a strong regional industry, it was simply dull. Just looking at the monotonous and peaceful townscape, it was hard to catch a glimpse of the radical resistance of the Ongafuchi Guardians. The atmosphere of boredom didn't hint of the Okayama police station being on the front lines of the damn conflict, nor of the numerous incidents that I heard about at the prefecture headquarters.
おはようございます。違反金の納付ですか？
いえ、公安部の本田屋さんにアポイントがあります。赤坂とお伝えください。
失礼しました。少々お待ちください。
The clerk, who thought I was here for a parking violation at first glance, after fumbling with the unfamiliar extension number, told the person on the line they had the visitor.
どうもどうも。赤坂さんでいらっしゃいますか？縁のはるばるお疲れ様でした。こんな部屋で申し訳ありませんね。応接室を押さえてあったんですがね。議員さんが突然お越しになっちゃったんで追い出されちゃいまして。
I would hesitate to call where we were a conference room, as it was very small and cluttered. The cramped space was packed with lockers. I had the impression that it was more of a change room than doubled as one for smoking. Listening to his crude chortles, I didn't get much of a feeling that Han Yanda, who was head of the local public safety division, was much of an intellectual. But I knew that in exchange, he had both experience and absolute confidence in his instincts.
ご多忙中、突然お邪魔して申し訳ありませんでした。警視庁から参りました赤坂と申します。よろしくお願いします。
公安部の本田屋です。よろしくよろしく。県警防隊の3階部長から協力を惜しむなと脅されておりますので。
防隊？県警の暴力団対策本部ですか？
うちじゃ鬼ヶ淵支所の連中は暴力団の延長に位置づけてますんでね。あれを善意の住民運動だなんてあんた、東城もいいとこですわ。
They said at the prefecture office, too, that the Ongafuchi Guardians was linked to the local mob. If I recall correctly, the adopted son of somebody influential was a lieutenant in that gang.
そりゃ逆。全然逆ですよ。暴力団の活動があって、それに住民団体が大義名分みたいにくっついていると、そういう風に考えてください。逆。
Handaya was just about rolling with laughter. This was slightly different than the info given to me at the prefecture office, but somebody in Bell did locally would be more knowledgeable. While we were talking, occasionally some people who seemed to be detectives would come in and change. One of those individuals, noticing Handiada's goofballs, came up to us.
何の話をしてるかと思えば。
Ooh, we never heard this theme before. No, don't think so.
おお、クラちゃん。ちょうどよかった。クラちゃんも入ってよ。こちら、はるばる東京の警視庁からお見えになった赤坂警部。
Nice and jazzy.
警部だなんて。まだまだ新米です。赤坂です。よろしくお願いします。
初々しいのがいいですね。採用は今年ですか？
I couldn't help but think I was being ridiculed, so I only responded with a forced smile. I could tell that this new person was Handiata, the type who had confidence in their instincts and experience. I really didn't like those types of people.
赤坂さんにもご紹介します。こちらは刑事部の大石君。赤坂さんがお問い合わせの S 号の件なら彼が詳しいです。
S 号？
園崎の S。
Yeah, S file.
S 号ってのはですね、園崎家が関連している件を示す、まあ、暗号みたいなもんなんです。
Sonozaki? Come to think of it, I remembered when I was poring over the documents at headquarters, there were quite a few people with the last name Sonozaki popping up.
確か園崎氏は鬼ヶ淵死守同盟の役員でしたね。確か会計だったと思います。
The two of them were surprised when I rattled up what post that Sonozaki held. Also, another thing that's very interesting about this chapter, so far, this could have been like a suitable chapter 1. Like, it could have been like a, honestly, it could have been like a like, I still love the actual chapter 1 we have, but this could also like serve, like, it's very much like an introduction type of chapter, which is very interesting, you know? Plus, as I said before, it takes that more classic approach to this, like, little secluded town type of mystery genre, I guess you would call it. You know, local police guy, you know, guy from the big city comes to, you know, local town or whatever. After a moment, both of them erupted in laughter.
赤坂さんでしたっけ？あなたお勉強家さんですね。ひょっとして同盟の連中の主要人物全部暗記してるんじゃ？
暗記というほどではありませんが、一応鬼ヶ淵死守同盟の幹部リストは一読しました。
じゃあ会長と副会長は？
会長は現ひなみ沢村村長の君吉喜一郎氏。副会長は町会神社部長の古出氏。会計が園崎お領氏で、会計監査は牧野氏。教頭部長が君吉義郎氏。広報部長が園崎貞夫氏。
赤坂さん、あなたなかなかやりますね。給料安いけどうちに来ません？うちに一番必要で一番いないタイプですよ。で、ちなみに園崎貞夫は青年部長なんです。惜しいですね。広報部長は園崎忠敬。
Feeling like I wasn't being complimented at all, I started settling into an uncomfortable mood. However, I was becoming more and more aware that I was the weakest link in their investigation, so I just had to bear with it. I didn't mean for that feeling to show up on my face, but the crafty detectives didn't let that slip by.
バカにしたつもりはないんです。お詫びと言っちゃなんですが、なんでしたら村を実際にご案内しましょう。
For somebody with no feel for the area like me would be a great help. I couldn't have asked more or more.
鬼ヶ淵死守同盟ってのは結局ひなみ沢村の対外的な別称に過ぎません。村を知ることがあなたのお仕事の近道だと思いますよ。いかがです？
The residential movement, in other words, held influence over the whole region. So the leader of the movement was the leader of that influence. Just like that, the thought processes in the region would become the overall personality of the movement. Just like Oshi had said, in order to learn what they were really like, this regional force behind the damn protest, getting to know the village was the quickest way.
よろしくお願いします。
Nodding back without skipping a beat, Oshi laughed in satisfaction and stood up. If I took the information I learned at the prefecture office and from Handiana to heart, and my position was exposed, my personal safety was at risk. The opponent was an extremist group that had no qualms about using threats or violence against somebody. If my personal info was leaked, it would be hard to imagine I'd be in danger, whether on the job or not. Thinking that, I felt a little nervous.
連中は顔覚えるの早いですからね。私と一緒にいるところを見られると多分いろいろあなたのお仕事に差し支えると思います。月並みですがね、こいつを身につけておいてください。
Oshi handed me an incredibly suspicious disguise composed of a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a mask. Nah, it's just the the glasses with the nose. What do you call those things? There's a name to them, but I completely forgot what it is. The, like... I don't know, I'm not even going to think about it. I didn't want to get all hot and sifty, but Oshi's warning was probably right on the money. Considering that, I put them on with appreciation. It looked so suspicious that Oshi had to smile wearily.
どこまで話しましたかね。
御三家という旧家が村を支配しているというところまでです。
The Higurashi Guardians was the same as the village of Himizawa itself, meaning there was a direct correlation between being an executive in the alliance and being a leader in the village, as Handiana had told me a short time ago. If the village was ruled by three ancient families, then it would mean the Higurashi Guardians was ruled by these same three families.
県警の資料には何て書いてありました？死守同盟のリーダー格とかそういうことについて。
The documents I was using were classified. If I responded to Oshi's question, I would be a breach of security. However, most likely, this man, I judged, was more well-versed in the situation than any of the documents at the Prefecture Police Department, so I decided to answer him.
同盟の会長は現村長の君吉喜一郎と。
Oshi, upon hearing that, let out a small chuckle. For him to ask like that and to laugh at the answers as it was recorded in the documents meant that wasn't the case in reality.
では君吉氏以外の影の人物がいると県警の持ついや一般的な情報とは異なり。
君吉のじいさんなんてただのお飾りですよ。そもそもこの村じゃ村長なんてポスト自体も形式だけなんです。
つまり同盟も村も本当の意味で支配している別の存在がいるということですね。それが先ほどおっしゃられていた御三家という存在ですか。
まあそのあたりはこれからご説明します。
All of a sudden, with a thunk, the car suddenly lurched. The paved road had given way to a gravel one. At the same time, the scenery outside the window changed. The Imizawa Dam project must be withdrawn. Overthrowing the shameless puppet of a governor, the dam will submerge the natural beauty of Imizawa, protect the village from the unethical dam. Fear the wrath of Oshiro-sama's curse. Dam will almost the dam. Those involved must go away. Construction office must respond. Construction office manager must negotiate with us. Signs and banners crowded the roadside. Even reading the blush scrawled words was daunting. It was as though where the road had just changed was a border with a different country. At that moment, I was startled by the car suddenly braking. Looking ahead, a barricade had been erected. About 5 or 6 protesters, wearing masks and helmets to hide their faces, were blocking the road, yelling at us angrily to stop.
これは何ですか？検問？
はあ？懲りない連中だな。
Oshi snorted as he rolled down the window and leaned out.
おいおいおい、あんたらダメだよ、こんなとこで道を塞いじゃ。
As Oshi glared at them with a malicious laugh, they visibly flattered.
道、開けてくださいな。それじゃ通れないでしょう。
Who would have thought it was Oshi's car? The panicked thought seemed to make them lose their presence of mind.
大石刑事の車と分かってればこんなご無礼はしなかったんですがね。大石刑事、いつもの車はどうされました？
The hell?
車検ですか？
そんなところです。台車ってのはどうにも馴染みませんね。
Judging from their brief conversation, I could guess that they were familiar with the license plate of the car Oshi normally used. In other words, if they knew the car brought to police, they would have hidden the barricade. What they were doing was obviously obstruction of traffic, blatant crime.
そっちの怪しい男は誰です？あんた、顔を見せてくれませんか？
The man glared at me menacingly, wearing a mask and sunglasses made me look particularly dubious. Would not showing my face get me into some unnecessary trouble? I turned to Oshi to see what I should do.
彼の顔は勘弁してあげてください。まだまだ新米でシャイなんですからね。
不審な輩じゃないか確認しようってだけです。最近のひなみさんは物騒ですからね。
あんたのうち鏡歪んでるのと違います？あんたのその面の方がよっぽど不審ですよ。
The men and Oshi continued to talk like that, feigning smiles at one another. However, from the beginning to the end, I couldn't get over the feeling I was sitting on a powder keg.
ゴミの不法投棄車両まだ減らないんですか？オタクたちも本当に朝晩大変ですね。
警察の方にもご理解とご協力をいただけて助かりますよ。
During that conversation, the barricade was moved, leaving a gap wide enough for a single car to get through. Oshi widely honked the horn once and began to roll the car forward. We could see the men's antagonistic glares at the back of the car in the rear of their mirror.
何ですかさっきのは。勝手に行動を封殺するなんて。
もちろん犯罪ですよ。目くじら立てても始まりませんがね。連中の主張じゃですね、村内に不法投棄をするトラックが出没するって言うんです。それを封じ込めるために不審車両を検問してるって話だそうで。
Jeez.
不法投棄？参拝を勝手に捨てようとする悪徳業者のことですか？
警察が何の手も打たないから自分たちで自衛するっていう論法でしたね。
I mean, we have seen literally mountains of trash, so oh well, it's most likely from, it could be, most likely from the construction of the dam.
まあ参拝なんて話はどうせ自演だからどうでもいいんですがね。
Really?
自演？
連中うまい作戦なんですよ。ダム現場にですね、工事妨害のために参拝ゴミを自分たちでばらまいてるんです。で、それを悪徳業者のせいってことにして臨検を設置すると。それで工事車両をいちいち足止めしてチクチクと妨害してるってわけなんです。
Jeez. Really fucking smart tactical ways to do it too.
鬼ヶ淵死守同盟の抵抗運動の一つというわけですね。
多分今の検問でこの車のナンバーが割れましたからね。もうこの先には一切検問の真似事はないと思います。連中も私を怒らせると得をしないことだけはよーく骨身に染みているようですからね。この車が工事関係車両だと知れるとですね、散々検問で足止めを食らうばかりか、投石や鉄釘のばらまきなんかも食らうって噂です。
whoever's behind this whole group must have been like part of the military or something, because these are straight up guerrilla warfare tactics. I mean, it's pretty obvious to see. So it has to be someone with like military experience that they're like setting up these like very, very tactical ways to halt construction.
あなたも身元が割れないようにせいぜい気をつけた方がいいですよ。公安なんてバレたらどんな目に遭うやら。
Roshi was acting like we were talking about something fun, but for me it was no laughing matter.
まるでどこぞの内戦の国に迷い込んだような錯覚です。
あんた、そりゃうまい言い方です。今言われたのはまさにその通り。
Roshi turned to me with a grin and menacing laugh.
ここはね、戦争地帯なんですよ。
The car slowed down a bit as it went down a narrow road through some farmland.
あそこの森の中に家があるのが見えます？古い感じの。
Looking at where Roshi was pointing, there certainly was an old, traditionally designed house.
あれが村長の君吉のじいさんの家です。
Really?
君吉本家とも言いますな。分家筋が多いですから、御三家の一つにあたります。
御三家。ひなみ沢村を支配している旧家ですね。
そうそう。で、もう一つが古出家。こっちは分家どころか、もう神主一家しか残ってませんがね。ちょうどあっちの方にね、神社がありまして、そこの神主をしています。ちなみにね、死守同盟の事務所はその神社の敷地内にあります。
The office of the Onikafuji Guardians. If these guys are the enemy, that would make the shrine ground their stronghold.
そこを見ることはできますか？
神社は古出家の私有地でね、警察といえど令状がないと踏み込めません。電柱のバックには村の息のかかった議員もいますからね。警察にも強いところと弱いところがあるってことです。御三家とは言ってもですね、そりゃあだいぶ大昔のことなんだそうです。大昔はその御三家ってのは合議して村のいろいろなことを決めてたらしいですな。
ということは今は違うということですね。
あんたいちいち察しがいいですね。さすが高学歴。
The car baked to a halt with a squeal. Ahead of where we were stopped were several signs. Private property beyond, no trespassing. Beware of poisonous snakes. Danger, turn back. Intruders will be charged an entry fee of 1,000,000 yen. Signs were erected there with things like that went on them. The road was separated from the forest by a chain-link fence wrapped in barbed wire.
私有地なんでここまでです。
Sonozaki's house.
この先は監視カメラがいくつも仕掛けられてます。
Bingo.
うっかり道に迷いましたなんて論法が通じる相手じゃありませんからね。
この先がそうなんですね。
The people currently controlling Hinazawa and the Okafuchi Guardians were neither the Kimiroshi family nor the Furud family, but the last of the three.
この先にあるのが御三家の一つ。そのひなみ沢村を影から支配する連中です。
Among the list of executives recorded in the documents, the number of people with last names from the three families was quite high. Of course, Sonozaki was no exception. However, at the top was the Kimiroshi family. If the Kimiroshi family seemed to be in charge, the rulers behind the scenes were the Sonozaki family. The double-layered structure empirically told me that this village had both a light and a dark side.
園崎家の頂点は現当主の園崎お涼っていうばあさんです。園崎天皇なんて呼ばれるくらいにその発言には影響力があるそうです。気をつけてくださいよ。 大物です。市長だって最敬礼でお迎えするような VIP ですからね。まあひなみ沢と周辺の町に住む村の親族の数千の評伝を固めてるわけですから、政治家は頭上がらないんでしょうが。
Jesus.
つまりその人物が鬼ヶ淵死守同盟の事実上のトップということですね。
そうなります。
With those words, Oshi pulled out a well-worn cigarette box. The suspected kidnapping of the minister's grandchild and subsequent threats. Were these part of the hidden plot by the Onkafuchi Guardians in order to have the Himizawa Dam project cancelled?
あなた東京からはるばる調べにいらしたんですよね。
ええ、そうですか。何か。
じゃあほらあれだ、犬飼大臣への直訴事件の絡みですかな。要するにあれで要注意団体ってことで公安がマークすることになったと、そういう感じですか。
大石さんこそお察しが早くて助かります。
Well, exhaling out cigarette smoke, Oshi smiled broadly, like I just pulled a good one on him. So I thought. His smile disappeared suddenly.
嘘でしょ。
Oh, shit.
だから直訴事件でマークがついたっての嘘でしょ。
Oshi knew that there was no way that Tokyo HQ would dispatch an investigator over some of these minors at direct appeal. If they were to dispatch someone, it would have been for a more dire reason. He had figured out as much. I thought of myself as the type of person who doesn't let things show on their face. In front of his watchful gaze, however, I felt that I was thinking was completely laid bare. Oshi silently lit another cigarette, as if waiting for me to interject during this awkward pause. I see. So this was a veteran detective's way of getting someone to spill information. But as long as I realized this, there would be nothing more. If I didn't open my mouth, I wouldn't have to lose anything. All I had to do was stare out the window and enjoy the scenery until Oshi gave up.
あなたって人は本当に隠し事が下手な人ですね。そういう素直で初々しいの悪くないな。
Oshi smirked as he twisted out his third cigarette, while I tried not to let him notice that I'd yielded completely. At first, I thought I'd won, but at the very least Oshi had ascertained that I was hiding something, meaning that I might have ended up marching to his tune. Oshi started up the engine once again and began to move the car. Oshi's he's a damn great
素直なところを
detective.
教えてくれりゃもっとお力になれると思ったんですがね。
素直に話したらどう力になれるんです？
If the cat was out of the bag, I might as well use it to catch some mice.
内容によりけりですがね、ひなみ沢界隈に詳しい情報屋に引き合わせてあげてもいいですよ。
協力員。
そっか、あんたらはそう呼ぶんでしたね。
どうして私の任務に興味を？大石さん。
そりゃあんたと同じです。常に知るのが私たちの仕事じゃありませんか。
Being able to meet Oshi's informant was an extremely compelling opportunity. We were looking to recruit somebody familiar with the area to cooperate for intelligence. In the end, there was no better method for finding people than asking. We were always taught, however, that the rank-and-file police were no better than monkeys. And like us, they were careless with confidential cases. Looked down on them like they'd won their mouth off in a drunken stupor. Oshi was an outlaw, even amongst them, and here I was lost on whether or not I should tell him about the kidnapping of the minister's grandson.
その情報協力員はどの程度鬼ヶ淵死守同盟に精通を？
あんたも公安の人間ならわかるでしょう。そんなの私の口からたとえあなたにだって話せるわけないじゃありませんか。
Protect your sources. That was the first principle of dealing with confidential information. In that regard, it seemed that Oshi wasn't one of those monkeys. Should I trust him, ask for his help or not?
あなたは国、私は金に雇われてますがね。私たちの職務はそう大きくは違わないと思っています。力になれると思うんですがね。
However, I had trouble believing that this crafty old man would simply help me just like he was creamed. Now, how should I go about this?
大石さんほどの方が無償で力になってくださるとはちょっと思い難いですが。
そりゃ下心がないわけじゃないです。あんたら確か協力員に支払える謝礼用の予算を持ってますよね。領収書不要な予算を。そいつでですね、情報屋との接触にかかるコストをちょいと。
つまり情報屋と渡りをつける謝礼をあなたにお支払いしろということですね。取引内容が明快で助かります。
He certainly was something else for being able to blazingly state his ulterior motive like this. Rather than him doing this out of kindness of his heart, everything was a lot clearer if he was being compensated for this deal. I felt that like he was the type of man who was good at these backroom dealings.
誤解しないでくださいよ。お金が必要なのは私にじゃなくて情報屋になんですからね。まあ支払いの関係上お金は私が預かりますがね。
支払いはいつ？
今すぐがいいですね。ないなら明日でもいいんですよ。
I pulled out a wallet that was different from my personal one. The price was pretty much fixed depending on what kind of information I was paying for. In this case, the payment was up front. Also, considering the fact that I didn't know what kind of info I would get, I shouldn't pay too much. When I suggested that, Oshi suddenly stretched out his hand and tightly grasped the contents of the wallet.
こういう時はですね、ケチケチしない方がいいんです。大丈夫大丈夫、損はさせませんから。
わかりました。ケチケチしないことにします。
で、調べたい情報は何です？内容によって多少アプローチが変わることもありますので。
他言無用を誓ってもらえますか、大石さん。
誓うまでもありませんよ。私もあなたたちと同じ。職務上知り得たことは他言できませんからね。わかりましたよ。誓います。ここで聞くことは他言無用です。それにあなたのおかげで溜まってたツケを全部返せるんですからね。私は少なくとも金の絡んだ約束は絶対に違いませんよ。
I was still unsure if I should trust him until the very last moment, but in the end I broke down. Oshi wasn't the type of guy I could trust 100%, but there was no mistaking he had access to underground information networks. In order to accomplish my mission swiftly, I needed his cooperation. I set my resolve.
鬼ヶ淵主導名がある事件に関与しているか否かを調査しています。
Now, what I'm very curious about is who's the informant? Who's the one person that's not part of the Himizawa community, you know, like part of the unity?
ある事件？
犬飼建設大臣が何者かに脅迫を受けている可能性があります。
可能性とはまた遠回しな言い方ですね。
大臣の近辺に内通者がいるらしいのです。その内通者によって高度に監視されているらしく、大臣は脅迫初期から屈服している様子です。警察へも我々へも一切通報していません。
なるほど。 だから脅迫を受けている可能性という言い方になると。だとすると妙ですね。大臣が誰にも通報しないなら、どうしてあんたらは事件を知ったんです？
If we didn't spy on the minister's private wife, who would have never found out?
その説明は私が情報屋に提供する必要がないと思われるので割愛します。
Oshi had apparently caught on and quietly chuckled when I refused to explain.
なるほど。大臣の近辺にスパイがいるらしいから、公安だけの極秘調査ということになったわけですか。そりゃあ確かに穏便な話じゃないですね。
ことを公にすれば大臣の政治生命も含め政変に発展する可能性は極めて高いでしょう。犯人グループの目的がそこにあるならば有識事態に発展する可能性があります。
政府の列島改造はまあいろいろ方々との衝突も多いらしいですからね。どんなささやかなケチでも一つつけば野党勢力がどっと票を伸ばす可能性もあると。
大臣がどのような要求を受けているのかは現在調査中です。ですが脅迫の方法だけはほぼ分かっています。
何です？
大臣の孫の誘拐です。周辺は否定していますが最後の目撃から見てすでに誘拐後72時間が経過していると思われます。
3日ですか。波の身代金目的ならもう決着してますね。
金銭でなく大臣に何らかの政治的なアクションを要求している可能性が極めて高いでしょう。それを我々は黙認するわけにはいきません。
で、それの犯人グループとの可能性として鬼ヶ淵死守同盟がリストに上がったわけですね。
そうです。
大臣の孫を誘拐してダム計画の撤回を求めるか。
どうでしょう大石さん、その可能性はあなたから見てあり得ると思いますか？
Oshi seemed to ponder the idea for a while. The section chief of the regional office had responded immediately with, "It's possible." However, Oshi, who was as well informed about the matter, was hemming with hawing. Finally, just a little bit, he said something that was really just a little bit strange.
明治前まではですね、この辺りはひなみ沢村って名前じゃなくて鬼ヶ淵村って呼ばれてたそうです。
いや
うちのばあ様の受け売りですがね。
This topic was so completely and suddenly unrelated to the subject of the kidnapping of the minister's grandson that I was slightly taken aback.
鬼ヶ淵村。それで鬼ヶ淵死守同盟という名称になったわけですね。
鬼ヶ淵村ってのはですね、人食い鬼の住む村だと言われてたんだそうです。今でも村人は自分の体に鬼の血が半分流れてると信じてます。
人食い鬼。大石さん、それ何の話ですか？
情報ですよ。さっきあなたからたくさんもらっちゃいましたからね。少しもらいすぎました。その分サービスしてあげてるんですよ。
Oshi finally smiled, but it didn't seem like he was fooling around.
先を続けてください。
人食い鬼たちはですね、普段は仙人と崇められてひっそりと暮らしているんですがね、やっぱり人食いですから定期的に麓の村に降りてきては獲物をさらっていったんだそうです。それをですね、鬼隠しと言いまして。
Oh, an actual name for it, Onikakushi. Demoned away. It was the first time I heard such a peculiar phrase. However, I felt something slightly ominous from this horrifying tale of demons abducting people in order to eat them.
ほら、よく世間一般に神隠しっていうのがあるじゃないですか。
Well, that movie.
人がある日突然失踪してしまうとそう言うでしょ。この辺りでは同じことがあると鬼隠しって呼ぶんです。
その昔話と本件に何か関係が？
いえいえ、直接的には何の関係もない、ただのおしゃべりですがね。ただ
Ka-tum, ka-tum. The car shook. At some point, the gravel road had changed to a paved one.
ただ、何です？
この土地に鬼隠しという名の失踪、誘拐を暗示するキーワードがあるということだけはお話ししておこうと思いまして。
Yeah.
今回の大臣の孫の誘拐と関係あるかは分かりませんがね。まあ深い話ではないんです。そんな言われの話があるということだけでもね。
Onikakushi, human-eating demons coming down to the foothills and abducting their prey. Then, in order to cancel the dam project that threatened to submerge the village they lived in, did they demon away the minister's grandson? Then, had they already made an example out of the minister's grandson and eaten him alive?
ちょっと興味深い昔話ですね。
鬼たちの村にみだりに踏み入ればたちまち囚われ食い殺される。だから鬼が淵村には近づくんだ。今時の若者はこんな迷信信じませんがね。沖宮の明治生まれの年寄り連中には今でも真面目に信じてるのが多いですよ。
Himizawa village is feared by the people in the area. I recalled that piece of information I heard from the Prefecture Public Safety Division.
何しろこの辺は田舎ですからね。迷信なんかが平気で幅を利かせてるんです。東京から来られた赤坂さんにはちょっと想像もつかないでしょうがね。
The man-eating demons, as the price for violating the sanctuary of their village, kidnapped the minister's grandson and swallowed him whole. That ludicrous idea through my head. It was so absurd I was half disgusted with myself. Oh, she was just teasing me. Stupid. It was all really so stupid. Come to think of it, by then I may have already been seized by the curse at that dubious village. For me to realize that would take a little more time. Whoa. Interesting. Is that it? Okay, I think that might be the end of the chapter, since it's usually two, cuts. So, wow, that is a lot. The chick in the trunk? Okay, those are going to be very interesting tips for next time. But yeah, this is a very interesting chapter. We have a new perspective, and we're back during the dam era, I'll call it, which is very interesting to know. It's very interesting. I'm very curious where this chapter goes and how it relates back to like the main story, really, that in 1983. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this type of content, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. Want to tell me something, put it down in the comments below. Want to check out the Discord server hang out in, or my Twitter, check the description below. And yeah, it's been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!